What's up, everybody? Back with another one. Today we're going to be talking about Expedition 33. So I want to talk about the end game, basically, the Act 3 and everything that follows after that. So if you haven't played the game yet, this is going to have a shit load of spoilers. Do not watch this video if y'all ain't played the game yet, because I know how some of y'all are. There are people who started Trails of Cold Steel with Part 3. Like, people do that dumb shit. So I'm letting y'all know. Spoilers for Expedition 33. But like I said, I want to talk about Act 3 and like the end of it. So first and foremost, the big twist of the game. The fact that the world that you've been exploring in, living in, trying to survive in and save is not real. It's a painting that Verso created. The real life Verso made this place. And I lost it the first time I heard that shit, man. Like, I was blown away. I watched the whole Act 3 beginning scene play out, and then I called my boy and I was like, yo. And we talked about it for a little bit. We didn't really get a lot of time to talk about it, but we talked about it for a little bit. And then I put my kids to bed. I went in the bedroom and I sat down with the Steam Deck and I was about to fire the game up. And I thought about the twist some more. I just sat there and thought about it in my bed, and I was like, nah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Like, I genuinely don't like that twist. I just don't enjoy it. I'll definitely explain to you guys why, though, because like I said, I've had a lot of conversation with the homies, and I've pretty much narrowed down why the game doesn't vibe for me after that point. Now, before I launch into this, I do want to say this. I think Expedition 33 is a fantastic video game. I think that the story is still good. The gameplay is fantastic. Like, there's no debate about that. It's so much fucking fun to play. And I think the story is really good. I'm not going to review it or anything like that, but like, I would give it like an 8 out of 10. And I would definitely recommend it to people who do and do not enjoy Japanese RPGs. I think it's worth playing, but it's definitely a moment of, if you guys played Tales of Arise, it's the same as when Elfin's mask breaks. Everything up to that point is fucking fire. And then his mask breaks. And I was like, this isn't good anymore. Like, the story just doesn't do it for me anymore. I liked what the game was about before the mask break than what the game was about after the mask break. And it is the same situation with Expedition 33. I like what the story was about before the twist more than what the story was about after the twist. Now, that isn't to say that I think the story after the twist is bad. I actually think the story after the twist is good in its own right. And especially when you pick the correct ending, it's really good. It's really, really, really good. I just like the other shit much more. So obviously, with JRPGs, I'm a big story guy. And one of the story themes that I really enjoy are underdog stories, like underdog themes, like overcoming the odds, bad news bears, shit like that. I fucking love it. I eat it up every time. And from that perspective, what this story was doing and what it was asking you to overcome, holy shit. So we have to save the world from this bitch who is fucking erasing all of us? And if we don't stop her, we will not exist anymore? That's fucking crazy, man. Like, and then you launch out into the world, and it's the most beautiful and unique place you have ever seen in a game, bro. The enemies, the atmosphere, the world, when you're finding the logs and learning about all the other expeditions before you, like, it's so fucking awesome. And then you get to Act 3 and it's like, oh. But, the story's not actually about saving any of this shit. And if you actually do pick the storyline in which the shit is saved, it's not a good ending for you, bro. Like, that's actually the bad ending. Ugh. Mael's ending gave me a visceral reaction. Like, it did the one thing I told my homie that I hope the game did not do, and it is bring back Gustav. And that motherfucker walks in the theater and sits down. I got pissed. Mad, bro. Like, so, but it's also supposed to be the bad ending. You know what I mean? So, in that regard, it is fucking perfect. In that regard, it's actually a really good ending because I hate it, but because of the, you know what I mean? Like, it's a good ending, but it's a bad ending kind of thing, but it's a good ending. And there was never an issue for me that because it's a painting that the world or the characters didn't count, that is impossible for me to feel that way, considering all the things you went through with these people throughout the game, like rolling with Lune and Ciel and Mael and Gustav, bro. Like, those are the homies, man. So, like, the fact that, not that they aren't paint or not real per se, but the fact that once the Act 3 twist happens, those characters basically get sidelined, bro, and it just becomes about Mael and Verso, who I will fucking talk about later. Their actions do not take into consideration any of the expedition anymore, despite the fact that for 90% of the game, you were trying to make sure those motherfuckers survived and saved their world and the people in it. In regards to Verso, his whole thing is like, he just wants to die. Like, he's tired of being alive. He knows what he is. He knows that he is not the real Verso. He's just a grief copy that the real Verso's mom created. And he's like, no, I do not want this life. And then Mael, like, her ending involves saving everyone, and like, they're hyped about that, you know what I mean? Gustav, the homie, and his girl Sophie come back and everybody's all happy and whatever. But like, it's not like she's doing that for the sake of the expedition. She's doing it for the sake of living a normal life. And that just so happens to include those people in that world. So it just feels like once the Act 3 twist happens, like Lune, Ciel, Monoko, those guys, they just don't seem to matter to the story anymore. And it's weird considering that they were the focal point for the majority of the game. And we know that there was something building up in the background with Mael and Renoir and Verso and all that shit. But like, I didn't think it was gonna happen to the point where it just became about that family and nothing else. And I think the biggest reason why the twist just doesn't click with me is because Verso as a character, I just don't give a fuck about, man. Like, it's cool that he's there. He was in my party the whole time because like my strategy involved Verso marking and then Mael doing big damage and all that shit. But like, as a character to the story, this man popped up at the beginning of Act 2 and I was like, who the fuck is that? And then they told me who it was, and they never gave me a reason to care about him for anything, really. Like, I understand who he is and what he's going through, but that just because something shitty happened to you doesn't mean I'm automatically gonna care about your character. Like, I can be sympathetic to that shitty thing that happened to you and still not give a fuck about what happens to you at the end. And that's pretty much how I felt about Verso. I don't think there was enough of the outside world presented to us to make us care enough about them. Well, us. I'm not gonna say us, not us. I just don't think the game did enough for me to get me to care about those characters outside of the painting. Like, I get, but the writers set up Mael and Verso saved her and died in the process. That's cool. That would have been cool to learn about and see. Maybe that would have helped me build an emotional connection if they showed like Mael and Verso and the family interacting in some like intimate way. Like, and I don't know, dude, like, I don't give a fuck about them. And then when the story became about them, it's just like, okay, the story's still good. I give it that. I just don't give a fuck. But like I said, it's still a good story that is presented to you because it's the conflict of these people in the painting, are they real or not? And if they get deleted, are you really killing anyone? Or is it just really like, oh well, they weren't real anyway. Like I said earlier, for me, I care about those characters, man. And I wish there was a third option that involved them as a group or something, man. I think that would be cool, because the fact that they get sidelined at the end and the decision of what happens to everything and everyone just comes down to Miel or Verso, it's kind of whack. But when you pick Verso's ending and see how everything plays out, like, I think it puts a really beautiful bow on the story, and the story of grief that it tells along the way too is really sick. Like, I like it, I really do. I just really cared about the fucking saving the world from the giant bitch that's deleting us thing way better. Maybe that's like the anime fan in me, I guess. If you guys are still watching that by this point, I appreciate y'all hanging out, and I really want to hear what you guys think about this down in the comments. In my friend group, there's like 5 of us that played this game. I'm the only one who feels this way. Everybody else loves everything else about this game. They thought the story was dope. Obviously the gameplay, like I said, phenomenal. But I'm the only one that didn't like the twist. I'm the only one who didn't like the way the story went. And I know I'm not the only one who feels this way, because I'm never the only one who feels the way I feel about things, ever. So I wanted to make this video to see if you guys feel the same way, if you guys feel like the homies do, or if you guys have some weird, like, extra third feeling or fourth feeling type shit that I ain't even thought of yet. Leave it down in the comments, man. I want to hear from y'all about this one, because this is really interesting. I appreciate y'all watching and hanging out. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.